Hello. Here I am, back. Sorry for the week off. I didn't let you know about, but we had major snowstorms in Canada, and I had to deal with those. And I wasn't about to set up a podcast that night, so I skipped the podcast last week. But I'm back this week, so if you're here, thanks for being here. If you're not, I understand there, Joe. Yeah. I was gone forever. I'm not going anywhere, buddy. I might just be gone for a week at a time. But I was buried under a mountain of snow. Yeah, we just got hammered up here in the north, as you know. You, Joe, I'm sure got hammered as well. Any of the sort of northeastern, central states in the U.S. up towards the Canadian border probably got hammered as well with a bunch of snow. So yeah, might have hampered your comings and goings. I don't know. Hampered my comings and goings. It hampered my back for snow shoveling. So I was hurting, man. So yeah, so I'm here. Welcome to the show. If you're watching, if you're not, well, don't welcome. Then I guess screw you. But yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about this week. I had more I could have talked about, but it feels like an extra week passed. It's like, well, it's passed a little bit. But would you say there, Joe? That's what my dad said too. Then he went to get some cigarettes. He didn't smoke. He laughed, man. He laughed. He went to go get some milk. That's what he went, right straight from the source. And maybe he just didn't like you. I'm sorry, man. That's not nice. That wasn't good. Maybe he just didn't like kids. That's fine. Whatever. Dads will go. Dads will take off. Moms will take off. People will take off. But it's not an indictment against yourself there, Joe. Sorry about your dad. But yeah, we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about Fort Knox audit, the pending audit coming. Been a while since they actually verified if there's gold there. The people that would verify that there is gold there would seemingly have a reason to lie. So yeah, let's just get Trump and some eyes from the actual administration to get in there and see if it really is there. I mean, I trust them if they get in there and say it's there. Don't really need a live video like they're talking about. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. So we'll see if that gets done, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit, what the people are saying about that. Also, we're going to talk about crime terrorists. So this is more of a Canadian problem. I'm sure it's happening in the States with your open borders as much as, I mean, your former open borders. I mean, they should be pretty closed now, but ours are in the process of getting closed. But we're having problems with seasonal criminals coming from other countries. They've got a 6-month sort of visa in Canada. They can come during the cold months and such and mess with us while people are on vacation and things like that. Kind of an interesting story. I'm going to talk about that. And also we're going to talk about Starbucks and their 1,000-person, whatever, I guess not layoff. They're just going to let go of 1,000 people, and how that kind of correlates to the current government changes that are going on in the States, and why it seems to be okay for Starbucks to do it. And nobody seems to balk an eye at that because a corporation is trying to streamline its processes and make money and get rid of the bloat. But when that happens in the government, it seems to be a problem. But we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about all the correlations with that. Also, Microsoft's got a new quantum computing chip, the Majorana 1. This is crazy stuff. I mean, I'm gonna get into this stuff. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna try and explain from my very limited knowledge on quantum computing. Probably gonna create more questions for you, but hopefully, if I do that, then you'll go and look and find the answers to that. But I'm not gonna have a lot of answers here. I'm gonna have some really kind of crude, rudimentary answers to these big questions, and we'll talk about that and where that kind of can lead us in the future, and we'll go from there. And lastly, we're going to talk about tent cities. I got a funny little opinion piece, or whatever you want to call it. I personally wrote about tent cities. You may enjoy that little article I wrote, and if not, well, go fuck yourself. Oh, that wasn't very nice. Ooh, what's up, Robert? Glad to see you there, buddy. What are you saying there? Huge electrical storm here. Streaming very poor. Oh, wow. Jeez. Sorry to hear that, brother. Well, hopefully you don't have any problem seeing me, but if you do, well, hopefully you can hear me at least. What's that? The real unemployment under Biden was in reality almost 25%. I don't like seeing more jobs being lost, especially since I'm currently out of work. Well, I'm sorry to hear you're out of work, Joe, but yeah, I've heard those numbers as well. And that seems a little bit more, I mean, that might be hyperbolic. It's maybe somewhere in the middle, but it's definitely higher than what they were saying. And, you just have to have two eyes and half a brain to kind of realize that. But anyways, yeah. So let me just scooch over to this camera over here, and let's hold on. There we go. And let's just kind of get into the first story here. Hold on. I'm a little bit. There we go. Now I got it, and yeah. Okay, so Trump has said he's going to do a Fort Knox audit, I guess you will, kind of a walkthrough, make sure the gold's still there. I think it's kind of important. If you don't, it's kind of weird to me, but yeah, it's going to happen. Hopefully, it hasn't happened yet, but yeah. I'll rewind that. Here's an article from Forbes. Let's see what they have to say, because Forbes is kind of a dog shit a little bit at times, but sometimes they're okay. Let's see what they have to say about this. Say Trump says he's going to check if somebody stole Fort Knox's 400 billion gold supply. Well, we know it's actually a little bit more than 400, but whatever. It's like 436 billion. Wow, that's a few billion amongst friends. It's fine. We can just round down. That seems to be what the government does anyway. So, all right, let's see what they say. President Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the world's richest man and head of the powerful Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. I love how they put these little things in there. Head of the powerful department. Whatever. DOGE elevated decades-old conspiracies about the state of the U.S. government's gold reserve at Fort Knox over the last 2 weeks as Trump vowed to take a rare look inside the tightly guarded facility. Kind of a dog shit start to your article, but okay. Let's go on. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold, Trump said Monday afternoon at the White House, which he's not lying about. It's like 4,500 metric tons or something like that of gold. No big deal. It's fine. It's only 436 billion. I mean, it doesn't even represent that much of the GDP. So we can just kind of let it go. No big deal. We should maybe just give all that gold to USAID and let them, do what they do. Beginning last weekend, Musk started the high-level scrutiny of the gold, making several social media posts questioning the state of the government's infamous gold reserves at Fort Knox, asking if the gold is still there or gone, and calling for a live video walkthrough of the facility. Again, I don't think it really needs to have a walkthrough of the facility. I think if we get the right people in there, I can trust that it's there. If they say it's there. I just think it needs an independent audit. You can't just trust the people that are looking after the gold to go ahead and audit themselves. It's like, oh, don't look here. It's kind of like, how many times have we seen, Ponzi schemes where it's like the person just saying, yeah, no, the money's all there. It's fine. It's, if you want it, you could have it. I mean, I wouldn't take it out or anything, but it's there. If you need it, it's all good. Nothing to see here. Don't look. Don't look at our books. Like, come on. There should be a yearly thing on this. It should be like all government spending should be audited by someone who isn't in any way affiliated with the system. I mean, that could be it could be something like how cryptocurrency is audited through the blockchain or something like that, where we could all look and see how things are being spent, where the money's going in that. But, they will obviously be very against that because that would expose a lot of money laundering and sharing of the government resources to all their friends. But let's carry on. There is no evidence to support theories about missing gold, and the Trump-appointed official nominally in charge of the gold, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, says the gold is accounted for, but the state of the reserve is tightly sealed. The U.S. Bullion Depository in Fort Knox, Kentucky, holds 147.3 million troy ounces of gold, or about 59% of the Treasury's total supply. With gold trading at more than $2,960 per troy ounce on the open market Monday, that means the Fort Knox gold has a market value of $436 billion, more than the market value of Europe's most valuable public company, Tiffany and Louis Vuitton. However, the government denotes the value of this gold at Fort Knox as just $6 billion based on the government's set book value for gold at $42.22 per troy ounce. Okay, so that's so stupid. Okay, so just because it was valued at that at some point, you can't just value that's what it's worth. It's like saying, oh, my car, I got this old 1975 whatever Buick dog shit, and I bought it back then for $1,300, so it's worth $1,300. No, it's worth what it's worth now, what someone's willing to pay for it. So, like, come on. It's just a way to try and say, oh, it's not that much money, and we shouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about $6 billion. It's kind of like it's a rounding error. Bissent through Coldwater and Trump and Musk's Fort Knox doubt Thursday in an interview with Bloomberg. We do an audit every year. I can tell the American all the gold is there. Bissent said, referring to an audit conducted in September. Again, who did the audit? I mean, is it in the auditor's best interest to say that the gold's there, whether the gold's there or not? Did they go in there and physically see the gold? Now, it might, chances are it's probably there. I mean, I don't see them needing to take the gold out at any point, but, let's just verify that it's there. It's a simple verification. The fact that this is kind of a story, that they're making a big deal of it, almost seems like they maybe are hiding something. Like they're hiding something in everything. So it's, just let them in there and have a look and put everybody to rest. The Fort Knox Depository has only opened its doors to non-authorized personnel on 3 occasions. In 1943 for President Franklin D. Roosevelt, in 1974 for 10 Congress members to break down cobwebs to reassure the public that their gold is intact and safe, and in 2017 for a delegation including Senator Mitch McConnell, and then Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Yeah, neither would be corrupt in any way. It is freakishly well secured. Whatever. Okay. So anyways, carries on. But the point is, this is kind of important. It's a lot of money. I know it doesn't sound like, when you look at the GDP of the U.S. it being like, whatever it is, like 23 trillion, it represents what, like 2% of that or something? Is my math right here? 436 billion, half trillion. Yeah, so about 2% of the total GDP of the U.S. And it doesn't really have they used to have this back in the day when the dollar was backed by the gold standard, meaning you had to have reserves to kind of show, that you had money. Essentially, it's like having money in the bank that, secures loans, essentially, right? They don't need that anymore. They just print money. So they really don't need this gold, but it's not mine. I'm not a U.S. citizen, but it is the people's gold. It's not nobody else. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It's not their money. So how about you we do an audit every year, or actually, just fucking sell it off or something. Just get rid of it. Use it to fix roads and shit like that, and whatever. Call it an emergency fund that you needed to spend. All right. Anyways, okay. Well, what are you guys saying here? Sorry, I'm catching up here. My grandfather told me in the late 90s that there was no gold in Fort Knox. After I told him I wanted to go there, I don't see how this is really news. I don't think there's anything there. I don't know if they would have gotten rid of it, though. I mean, what would they have done with it? Did they just kind of steal it and use it for something else? I don't know. Again, with the ability to print money, I don't think that they need to do that exactly, but maybe. I think we need something like the CCP has. We have a government rep everywhere aid goes, audited immediately. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'll bet you the CCP is tight on their spending. They don't give a shit what the people think about it, but they're tight on their spending. They know what they're doing. Whereas I think the U.S. is just all over the place. It's just so much money that it's like I said, $6 billion would be a rounding error. It's like, so what? We don't care. Like, we're dealing in trillions here. What's a couple billion? And so it's easy. It would be easy enough for people to skim off millions of dollars off the top. And these silly little programs USAID had going, and I'm sure other government agencies have. We're just probably at the tip of the iceberg, but I don't know if they're gonna get into every organization. But every bit of money that's found and saved, I think it's good. I don't know why anybody would think it's bad, but anyways, if the Buick dog shit is in good shape, it could go for 6 figures. Yeah, you're right. That's what I mean. So yeah, you may have bought your Buick dog shit for $1,300, but it's now worth $90,000 or $100,000. So Save that Buick dog shit from 1971 or wherever you bought it from. Okay. All right. Let me get on to the next story here. Hold on, let me just populate this thing here. This one's pretty cool, at least to me. So we have a little problem in Canada, and it seems to be seasonal criminals, people coming to our country to steal our shit and go home. I don't know, a bunch of bandits with backpacks. I'm gonna read this story. This is what is this? National Post. Don't expect much, but hey, they're out there trying. They're a bunch of little engines. They're out there trying to put a good story together. Let's see what they have to say on this one. So, crime tourists, organized burglary gangs are wintering in Canada and ransacking homes. Organized burglary gangs blending sophistication with brute force are wintering in Canada from Latin America and Eastern Europe as crime tourists coming to take advantage of early seasonal darkness and Canadian habits to ransack and loot homes. When they're talking about Canadian habits, what they're talking about is, you live in Canada, you'll know this, between basically December and the middle of April, it's basically our travel season. It's like when we like to get the F out of Dodge, because it sucks here. As if you live in Canada, we've had to deal with a bunch of snow in the last couple of weeks and freezing temperatures and all this. And today it ends up getting to like 5 degrees, so everything's melting. It's all going to freeze overnight, become ice. It's kind of a nightmare to live here for almost half the year. So we get away. We like to get away to the Caribbean and, different warm spots. And we're also, like everyone else, just as stupid. And we like to post it on Facebook and social media and stuff and say, hey, look where we are. I'm here. Perfect. So people are looking at that and going, oh, Tony's in friggin' Cabo. So let's go to Tony's house and take all Tony's shit. And that's what they do. And it seems that these people they've made this kind of their like seasonal crime thing. It's almost like seasonal workers. And instead of before, like you'd hire people from wherever to come over and apple pick and, plant trees and, maybe tobacco farm, things like that. Now they're just, we don't hire them to do that anymore. They just bring themselves over and steal our shit. So whatever. All right, let's carry on. The latest evidence of roving criminal networks of seasonal migrants comes from York region, a large municipality north of Toronto, where 20 people from 6 separate crime groups were arrested after a 4-month probe into home break-and-enters. And if you live in the area of Toronto, Mississauga, Brampton, it's a bunch of sort of big metropolitan areas around the Toronto area, you'll know that break-and-enter B&E crimes have gone up significantly, where you have smash and grabs and all these kinds of things where these it's like before it was more like, it might have been like kids doing some shit and stuff, but now it's like a much more organized thing where they know what they're going for and they're smart about when they do it. It's got a level of sophistication, so you can see that it's somewhat organized. And this, obviously, with this, the evidence coming on this, it's showing that it is organized, that these are actual crime groups that are orchestrating these crimes and attacks and such. This is a cyclical trend that we've seen for multiple years now. Latin America theft groups and Eastern European theft groups enter Canada shortly after daylight savings ends in the fall and return home to their countries in the late spring after they've committed crime. Nice. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming to Canada. We love that you're here and stealing our shit. Those arrested in York Police's Project Dusk are crime tourists, he said. Alvaro Almeida, deputy chief of York Police, and their plans were purposeful and well organized. What is going on with my reading today? I apologize. Every single one of these individuals arrived in York region from outside the borders of Canada, and we believe their sole purpose for coming here was to commit crime for profit. They are here purely for profit. So what I don't understand then is there's only a certain amount of people, like if you get somebody coming into the country and they commit any type of crime in the country, I think they should just be banned. That's it. You just don't come back. The U.S. was really good about this with like multiple offenses on drugs and things like that, or even like driving offenses as far as like a DUI and things like that, they wouldn't let you cross the border. I have friends that can't cross the border. Now, I mean, it's a little different with the U.S. and Canada because we've got such a long open border, and it's a little bit different. At least in my opinion. But if you're coming from a country like Latin America or something like that, and you're coming over here and you get convicted of a crime, and you're not in any way arrested or anything, like get out of here. You're not coming back. We don't need your shit. Go straighten your life out. Figure out something, and maybe at some point you can apply back, and we might let you back in the country. Otherwise, get out of here. Go to another country. Go to an easier mark. We're not, hopefully we're not the easier mark, but apparently we are because we kind of have open borders up here in Canada. The gangs monitor affluent neighborhoods in and around Toronto. Most break-ins happen between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m., he said. So when it gets dark, the douches come out at night. There's a time period when we know no one's at home. They do surveillance, and then they'll sit and watch and identify when people are coming, when people are going, and then they'll do the break-in. Which is kind of weird to me because, we have so much technology now, like just a Ring camera even alone. Like you can have a motion detected Ring camera in your house. Somebody's coming into your house and it just notifies your phone. Like, I don't know why why these people are able to do this, but anyways. Some of the burglars used illegal signal jammers to defeat surveillance. Well, there you go. So there's my question answered. Surveillance camera, cell phones, and some alarm systems and signal detectors to reveal security systems and hidden cameras. After patients picking a target, they switch to a blitz-style burglary. Oh, there you go. Sometimes the bandits kick in a rear side door, even a front door. Police seized several entry kits that included pry bars and punch tools used to smash glass, such as sliding patio doors or windows. Ugh, jeez, man. You imagine coming home and finding some asshole broke into your house like that? It's got to be just awful. I've never had my car broken into, and that's enough. That just feels like such an invasion. Then they swarm in, smashing and grabbing, appending everything in their way as they rummage through drawers, cupboards, and shelves for easy-to-carry valuables. They love watches, jewelry, cash, passports, luxury handbags, small electronics, designer clothes, and collectibles. They're literally in here for only minutes, then turn over the rooms and get out. Often the valuables are stuffed in grocery store bags so they don't look odd carrying bulging bags. Sometimes they use suitcases found in the home to carry their loot. Oh, that's a nice insult to injury. Steal your suitcase to take your shit. Ugh, so awful. Yeah. So let that be a warning to you if you live in Canada and you travel abroad during the cold months. Watch out, because there are these roving bands of asshole criminals that are coming into our country and stealing your shit when you're away or out for dinner or whatever. So, hey, I don't know. We could start just closing our borders off like normal countries, but that might not be equitable. What are you guys saying here? Close the northern border. I like that. We got those criminals. I have friends that got denied entrance for a jaywalking ticket that they didn't pay. Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid. Eh? Like, it's there's nonsense, and then it seems like the weird thing about that is it seems like we're nonsense about like things like drug related charges and stuff like that isn't. It could be a misdemeanor charge like that, with like a drug, like you had possession of something, right? Like not. I understand possession with intent to sell. Like if you have, you got a kilo of cocaine on you, I don't think that's for personal use. So, I could understand a country, like I could understand the US saying, no, we don't want Canadians in, or vice versa. We don't want that individual to come across the border because they're probably coming to do that. They're coming to commit crimes like that. But if you jaywalked and you didn't pay the ticket or something, like it's like, okay, no, we don't want that person in here because they might walk against the light in our country. So we don't want that here. Okay. We like order, and that is just disorderly conduct. We just don't want it. Get out of here, you criminal. But no, if you want to come from fucking somewhere in Central America and steal our shit, well, all right. Well, you can't come back for 6 months. You get out of here now. You go home. 6 months. That's when they want to come back anyway. 6 months. they show back up. They're like, "Hi, I'm here again to enjoy your wintry season in Canada and steal your shit." What was that last part? What? I said the wintry season. I was just wanted to enjoy the wintry season. It's nothing. I don't know what accent I'm doing. Just doing a smash of all of them, so I don't don't offend anyone. Just I'll do a weird accent. I don't know. It's so weird. And then you go, I don't know. It's not Russian. What the hell is that? I'm doing all the accents smashed together. Yeah, $10. It was a $10 ticket. Shit balls. I don't screw around. If I get a ticket, I've gotten speeding tickets and stuff in the States. I just pay them right away. Like I go online, boom, boom, paid, done, bing, bang, bong, done. I don't want any problems. I don't need the police coming to my door to bang it down and take me away because I have an unpaid parking ticket or something in the States. Anyways, all right, let's get on the next thing here. Bloop, bloop. Hold on, I'm not set up. I must have been. Oh, I was trying to read that article. I had no time to read any of the articles today, so that's why I got caught off guard a little bit. But so sorry. I had a busy day. Bunch of bullshit. Dealing with a bunch of bullshit. And all this melting snow shit is not easy to deal with here, so gotta clear it all up before it all freezes and stuff. So I was doing that. Anyways, all right, let's get to the next thing. So Starbucks has now announced they're going to be, I keep wanting to say laying off, but they're going to let go of 1,000 employees, varying employees, I'm sure. The frontline workers in the stores, also some corporate people and such. They're downsizing to try and make money because that's what companies try and do. Oddly enough, that's what countries try and do as well, but it's not as good when the country does it as much as when a company does it. It's acceptable. Let me read this article. This is CNN, so dog shit. Starbucks is laying off workers and paring back the menu as it tries to turn the business around. I didn't even know Starbucks was suffering, but I don't know. I like their caramel macchiato. I like that one. I hope they don't take that one off the menu. Excuse me. Starbucks announced Monday it will lay off over 1,000 corporate workers and cut complex and unpopular drinks from its menu in an effort to turn around the lagging sales and revamp the coffee chain. Starbucks is cutting some Frappuccino blended drinks, Royal English breakfast latte, and white hot chocolate. I like the white hot chocolate. I think I've had that maybe once in the last 5 years. So I would like them to keep that on the menu for when I want it once every 5 years. As part of its effort to simplify operations and shrink its menu. These items aren't commonly purchased, can be complex to make, and are like other beverages on our menu, the company said in a release announcing the menu change. Fun fact, I used to actually own a cafe myself, and I used to make a lot of different drinks in that. So I will tell you that some of these drinks that they make would be like ridiculous. You have a bunch of syrups and a bunch of shit to have to make them. You have to store all that crap. So yeah, if you're not making them very often, it's not even worth it. So I'm sure to them, they probably look at the numbers and go, oh, we sell a Royal English breakfast latte. We sell like out of all of our drinks, that represents like 0.001% of our drinks. Let's just can it, which is smart. Starbucks is cutting 30% of its menu in an effort to simplify its processes. Starbucks iced energy drinks and its controversial olive oil coffees, that sounds gross, have already been removed from menus. Other retailers and restaurants are also cutting choices to reduce costs and focus on selling their most profitable items. As you should with a business. Starbucks sales have slipped for 4 straight quarters, the longest decline in years. Some customers stopped going to Starbucks because it's stupid expensive and long wait times. And hundreds of its stores have voted to unionize in protest of pay. What? You want unions in there? Oh my God. Okay, that's smart. There's almost no way to damage a business than to get a union in. It really just is horrible. I've worked for unions and they suck. Benefits and working conditions. More than 30% of Starbucks orders now come from customers ordering off their phones and picking them up. This influx of mobile orders has sometimes strained Starbucks workers during rush hours. Yeah, I know people that do that personally. Starbucks also said Monday that it's cutting around 1,100 corporate jobs. So what's 100 jobs amongst friends again? They said 1,000, but it's 1,100. The company added that it would be eliminating several hundred open and unfilled positions, as well as requiring those who are at Vice president levels are hired to come into its Seattle or Toronto offices at least 3 times a week. Oh, no. Oh, man. You got to go to work now. Oh, that's so infuriating. I can't believe they actually want you to show up personally to work. This is horseshit. The company is attempting to turn around under new CEO Brian Niccol. Niccol, who was brought in from Chipotle in August 2024. Chipotle's run pretty well, and is the company's 4th CEO in 2 years, has embarked on an ambitious turnaround plan for the coffee chain. Niccol said in a recent interview that Starbucks had veered too much into mobile orders and that it took a lot of the soul out of the brand. He has aimed to return the company to its roots as a community coffee house with comfortable seating rather than one focused on getting customers out the door as fast as possible with to-go orders. Niccol, known as the industry as a Mr. Fix-It for struggling chains, has also brought back a company tradition of baristas doodling on cups as well as self-serve milk and sugar stations. Okay, so he's got an idea. He's got ideas to make it a little bit more of a coffee shop. Well, that's not really what Starbucks is anymore, but it's, I guess you can justify swanky prices if you make them kind of like little swanky outlets to go, like a little coffee culture or some bullshit like that, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the right direction for the way things are. I think people are just looking for grab and go. Nobody really wants to sit in a Starbucks. It's like, go to a Tim Hortons here in Canada. I don't know if it's Dunkin' Donuts for you guys in the States. Elsewhere, I don't know. Maybe you got them both. But, and see what the kind of clientele that are sitting there in these places are. It's either somebody with a laptop who's, I don't know, writing a screenplay maybe, or some of the people that are maybe planning to break into your house later and steal your shit or shit in your lawn. Either or. Not the kind of people that you want to be really hanging out with in a coffee shop. This isn't the old days where everybody's just kind of like community and stuff, unless you're in a small rural place where maybe everybody knows each other. Right now, it's kind of just, it is that grab and go type of society. So maybe you just make the grab and go easier and better for people, and maybe that might help. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. What are we saying? Yep, man, those criminals. I have friends that got denied entrance for. Oh, you said that, yeah. Okay. Bastard. That's my favorite drink, the white chocolate mocha. It's probably pretty freaking good. I don't know. I think I've had one. I've had a hot chocolate one time. So maybe it was the white chocolate mocha. I don't know, but it was good. Yeah, it was really good. But sugary as shit, right? So you have it, and you kind of need to detox a little after you have it. I'm 50-50 on unions. They make sure you get your breaks and raises and time off, but they also want to cut my pay. Maybe I see it different because I'm not a business owner. It's well, okay. So unions in there, it's like anything, right? When you look at something that has a good idea, it's kind of like socialism, right? Like communism. It has in essence, it has a good idea. It has this idea that everybody's just going to have, and, we're all going to, we take from a pot and, we share and all this kind of stuff, but it's not human nature. It's like, so unions are kind of the same in that regard. A union comes in and they have the idea that they're going to protect the workers. They're going to arbitrate on your behalf. And, it's like they're by the people for the people, essentially, right? But it's not really how it works. Most unions, it's this, it becomes a bureaucracy in itself, because you get this entity that's representing the worker, but they're also in bed with the company, because they have to negotiate with the company, so they have to frontline, and they'll have people that are being paid by the company to act as liaisons with the union. So they're all in bed with each other, and they're working, kind of on your behalf, but really on their own behalf. They're just working for themselves to keep the money your union dues going to pay them, so they can protect you, when really we have just laws and such to protect people from all kinds of things. You just have to avail yourself to that. It's like people are lazy. It's like they don't want to do the things. They don't want to find out how the legal system works in relation to to workers' rights and things like that. So they just go, okay, well, I'd just rather have a union take care of that. Well, you kind of get what you pay for. You pay a bunch of union dues, and And if you're a good worker, you don't really need it anyway. So I don't know. I'm like I said, I don't really like unions, but I understand the idea behind them. But I've worked on both sides of the union. I've been a unionized employee, and I've been in management where I've had to work with a union on a few different occasions, different unions and different occasions. And it's I don't know, not for me. It's not my cup of tea, but whatever. Anyways, what's that? From the workers' standpoint, I can see why they're useful. Yeah, well, some workers. As a worker in a union, it was never useful for me. It just, I don't know. I just paid a lot of money towards union dues and didn't do anything for me because nobody wanted to fire me for anything. Most of the time, actually, to be honest, it was I would get in more trouble because of the union than not, because the union would have all these different rules in place that I would do a thing that, say, a manager would be like, "Oh, no worry, don't worry about that," but they'd be like, "Well, no, we have to follow up with this with you because of the union. Like, we can't let you get away with that because we got a union and everybody has to be treated the same type thing." But I don't think I don't believe in that. I don't believe in equity. I don't think everyone should be treated the same. I think there are douchebags that aren't treated as good as the people that are acting better. Like, it's not how life works. Nothing's fair like that. It's not. There's no like this line that everything's fair. If you act like a douchebag, you should be treated like a douchebag. If you act like a good person, you should be treated like a good person. And generally, that's what happens. It's not even about likability. It's if I'm a good worker, whether you like me or not, you're gonna respect the fact that I'm a good worker, and you're not gonna want to get rid of me. You're not gonna all that stuff because you're gonna understand. Like, I've had tons of workers that I've kind of disliked, but they're good workers, and I'm like, okay, well, John's an asshole, but he gets his job done really well, and I'll even take some of John's shit because he's a good worker, right? And be like, okay. And then you got a guy that you like, and maybe he's a little bit of a slag bag, and you let him get away with a little bit because you like him, but you're like, no, man, you got to pick up. So it's all that shit. Anyways, I digress. I'm getting into some personal shit when I'm talking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, Robert's quiet because he probably can't even hear anything or see anything. Poor guy dealing with an electrical storm. That's gotta suck. Okay, well, let's just get on to the next thing here. Rolling along. The Rolling Stone gathers no moss. All right, actually, let me. I should be doing these segments like I said I was going to do. So when I shoot the video clips, they come out nice. So I'm going to do that. Here we go. This one is this one, and okay. So Microsoft has now released this quantum computing chip. This is crazy shit. If you know anything about the Terminator movies, this is kind of right in line with that. This chip here, this is, I'm going to read this article first, and I'll kind of go into this. This is it's pretty heavy stuff. So it's very technical stuff. I don't even understand a lot of it myself, so don't expect a massive explanation from me. I'll give you a rudimentary explanation of what I understand, and I'll create some more questions for you. This is an article here by TechHQ. It's called Microsoft's Morgiana 1, quantum chip could transform computing. Palm-sized computer chip Morgiana 1 uses new material and makes quantum computers more practical. A new quantum computer chip small enough to fit in the palm of your hand might solve problems that would make today's most powerful supercomputers take today's supercomputers thousands of years to crack. Microsoft says it's Majorana 1. Why am I having a hard time saying that? But Majorana 1 represents a fundamental shift in how quantum computers could be built and operated. Unlike traditional quantum computers, which fill entire rooms and require complex cooling systems, the new chip points towards a future where quantum computing could become as practical as processors in your smartphones. To grasp why this matters, imagine trying to build or to solve a jigsaw puzzle. While traditional puzzles or computers try pieces one at a time, quantum computers can try multiple combinations simultaneously. However, existing quantum computer systems are highly delicate. Even the slightest disturbance can cause errors. I am really having a hard time. I think the lights are messing with me and I'm tired. So I'm sorry for my poor reading of this article here, but Microsoft's approach tackles the challenge differently. The Majorana 1 uses a new type of material called topoconductor, which makes the quantum bits or the qubits more stable and less prone to errors. So, okay, so that basically what that's saying. So qubits are how quantum computers process information through it. So these qubits are very unstable. Whenever like there's any kind of movement or anything like that, they're unstable. There's no other way to say it. But these topoconductors, I'm going to get a little bit more in explaining this once I get through this article a bit, but they're a lot more stable, and they allow them to actually allows it to actually compute instead of dealing with its own instability. We took a step back and said, okay, let's invent the transistor for the quantum age. What properties does it need to have? The breakthrough lies in Microsoft's approach to creating qubits. The company HSA developed a material made of indium arsenide and aluminum, built atom by atom. The material creates exotic particles called majoranas that can better protect quantum information than that of conventional approaches. The chip's design features H-shaped structures, where each H contains 4 controllable majoranas, each making up 1 qubit. This is where it gets all like, you're going to go, what the hell are you talking about? The structures can be connected like tiles across the chip, offering a way to scale up to 1 million qubits. So the way I kind of understand this, and the way it's sort of, I've read some different things, and there was a really good simplistic explanation on Reddit, actually, of all places, where someone was explaining, and it kind of makes sense. They say take a theater, and you have 100 seats in the theater, but 99 people are in those seats. And as each person moves, that empty seat moves around. So if people are moving all at once, that seat's moving around. If people are moving, so it's like that position is constantly moving as everything's happening at once. So it's kind of like the way that this is convoluted, but instead of like one person moving from one seat to the other seat, and that's like just one movement, that would be kind of like the 1 qubit type deal. It's all 99 of them moving at the same sort of time, moving from various seat to various seat. So that open seat just moves all around everywhere, all the time. So it's like, instead of having this one process happening, it's multiple processes. And obviously, if they're talking about 1 million qubits, it's a much greater scale than what I'm saying there. But in a small scale, that's essentially how it was explained that it works. I mean, still have a lot of holes in my brain and how this stuff works, because it's so like, it's almost just esoterical, but realistically it's not anymore. Obviously it's in the reality now. So it's in our sphere, but it's, if you don't have an understanding of this, you're probably never really going to completely understand it without a firm background in quantum computing and quantum mechanics and such. But hopefully that sort of crude explanation helps a little bit. Real world applications of Majorana 1. Creating materials that can repair themselves, fixing cracks in bridges or scratches on car doors. That's crazy. That would be crazy. Imagine that you get a scratch and you take it to a place and they go, oh, okay. They just park it in a little bay, and this quantum computer starts up and goes, just fixes the thing, and you just drive out. Like, okay, pay in or drive in, pay on your way out. Done. Developing solutions to break down microplastics polluting our oceans. This one's huge. Like, that's crazy. That obviously we need that. That's a massive thing. I'm actually invested in some companies that are looking to do these different things, which is pretty cool that they're moving ahead with this. This could mean money for me, which is nice. Designing more effective medicines by understanding molecular interactions. This one, that's when you get a little weird. We start talking about bio stuff, but of course they're going to do it because it's huge. Finding ways to combat global hunger through improved agricultural processes, and calculating and modeling complex chemical reactions that are impossible with today's computers. Obviously, this is the tip of the iceberg of some of the real-world applications. I'm sure there would be many, many more, but these are some of the big ones, which would be obviously pretty revolutionary for us as a society. Any company that makes anything could design it perfectly the first time. It would just give you the answer. The quantum computer teaches AI the language of nature, so the AI can tell you the recipe for what you want to make. So imagine that. Imagine you just go online. You're like, okay, I want to, I don't know, whatever, think. I want to make a. I don't even know. like this. Think of anything you want to make. I want to make this thing. I want to make this little robot that goes around and it aerates my lawn for me. You just type it in. I want a little aerating robot. Boom. Just tells you. This is exactly how to do it. This is revolutionary shit. This is stuff that is just going to change humanity, hopefully for the good. I don't know. But, this is like when I talk about Terminator, the Terminator movies, this is even further ahead than that, because they were just talking about these like chips for these killer robot, these whatever I don't know if they're sentient even, but these killer robots that were fighting the human race. If you've never seen Terminator, sorry, big spoiler, but this is like even further ahead than that. So I think this is further ahead than our imagination even. So that's why we haven't really imagined what this could do and put it in the movies yet, because really it's like, I don't think we'd understand it. One of Major Ana 1's most significant aspects is its measurement system. The chip can detect the difference between 1 billion and 1,000,000,001 electrons in a superconducting wire, a level of precision necessary for quantum computation. Unlike traditional quantum computers, which require constant fine-tuning, Major Ana 1's measurements can be controlled with voltage pulses similar to flicking a light switch. This simplification could be a key to making quantum computing practical. That probably didn't make any sense to you, but not a lot of sense to me either. So really, this one's kind of interesting though. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, you've probably heard of DARPA, has taken notice and has included Microsoft in its program to evaluate quantum computing technologies. Microsoft is one of the 2 companies invited to the final phase of DARPA's underexplored systems for utility-style quantum computing program. So anybody who knows what DARPA is, DARPA guaranteed has been working on this shit since the 70s. So like the fact that they're like saying, oh, we're taking notice or whatever. No, it's more like they're like, okay, they've probably been working with Microsoft since Microsoft's inception to work on stuff like this. So it's like I guess they have to kind of jump out of the dark and say, oh no, hey, we're working on this. We know you're working on it. Come on. The quantum chip with 8 topological qubits. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Topological qubits, or what I was talking about with the movie theater reference. Designed to scale to 1 million. Control electronics to operate the quantum bits. A special refrigerator that keeps the chip colder than outer space. Software that allows the quantum computer to work with traditional computers. And that's the whole the problem with this quantum computing. Excuse me. The instability, obviously, a lot of that's created as well from like just the heat generated. They have to cool these things, and that's why they have to, like, quantum computers now have to be the size of a room, and they have to have all these cooling things. Like if you have a computer, if you have a traditional computer of any sort, it has a fan. It has to cool itself because the things run hot. You imagine a quantum computer, how hot that would run. So of course it has to find a way to cool it. Yeah, I'm not gonna read the rest of this article. It's just kind of going into fluff about what's next with whatever. But the point being on all this is quantum computing has just made kind of a leap ahead. Now the fact that they're working on it, and they basically have a chip that's the size of your palm of your hand. This is crazy. This is the next leaps into quantum computing. It's just it's kind of scary. I don't know. Because nobody knows. We're onto a new frontier now. No one really knows what we're going to be capable of doing or what we're going to use it for, nefarious reasons and such. It's it's exciting, but again, it's also pretty scary. So yeah, I think we need to tread carefully in this regard. Sorry, I had to wipe my fingers, or my keyboard, greasy fingers. Yeah, dinner. That's funny. This make me feel tarded, and I know computers and how they made for the most part. I'm no expert, but I understand what when explained how Intel builds their CPUs. This is a whole new game. Yeah, I agree. Like I was deep diving on this the whole topological qubit, topological in its sense, in its own aspect. If you kind of look into it, it's almost as if it's a different particle. The way they do it, it's malleable in itself, essentially. So it's like it acts as like both a solid and like a liquid at the same time. It's flipping weird. I don't even understand it really. I'm just at the tip of understanding any of it. So trying to explain it, I'm explaining it from like almost like the point of view of a 5-year-old trying to explain, a building or something. Oh, there's like there's walls on the outside, and like there are people can go in it, and there's a way to get up to different levels. But I can't tell you how any of that shit happens. So it's so to me, like I don't get it, but so cool. The fact that we're doing this, it's so cool, but it's so scary too, because like realistically, it's like opening up Pandora's box. We just don't know. Especially the opening up the Pandora's box comes where you're combining AI with the quantum computing. That's where it gets scary to me, because now it's like it's kind of like taking your hands off the steering wheel, allowing a car to drive itself. If the car had a will to kill you, I guess it could, right? It could just speed up to an insane speed and crash into something. And, what are you going to do, essentially, if it's in control? So that's the whole idea. It's like taking control out of ourselves. That's scary, but I don't know. It's also exciting. It's also pretty flipping cool. They can cool it by putting it in a tank full of non-conductive liquid. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but how would you do that in like a handheld system or something that could do quantum computing? Like, I don't know what the practical use, the end user use is that way. Other than maybe like other than having like these like sort of supercomputers that we have access to remotely through our devices and such, where we just for like information essentially. But like the practical use of it, in the way that it's going to do something, if it's in a piece of equipment where it's actually able to perform a task or something like that. I don't know how that happens, but maybe we can finally get Star Trek things that give you what you want on demand. Oh yeah, the replicators, or yeah, no, not replicators. Yeah, replicators. I guess that's what they call them. Just go type in, I want a bowl of soup, or like Captain Picard would say, tea, Earl Grey, hot, and then you just have a tea. All right, let me get into the last thing here, because we're at 53 minutes. So let me go on to the last thing I have to talk about, the funny end of it. All right, well, I'm gonna have to do my little segue. So sorry about your luck. Here we go. All right, so 10 cities. I don't know what you think about them, but they're here. And they're here, looks like, to stay for a while. But here's an article, a little fake article by CNN. 10 cities, what's good about them and why you're an elitist piece of shit. Take a look at any park or green space in your dumpster fire of a city, and you'll notice a tent city that looks like it houses an invading force of dirty, molesty, crackhead zombies. The thick waft of shit fills the air as they use the other side of your fence for their communal toilet bowl and refresh the smells with a frequent dose of hot urine. If you find yourself getting mad and longing to do something about this, don't worry, you're not alone, but you are a piece of shit. A tent city regular known as Stanky Steve spoke to us about his perspective. He claims the only reason why people in the neighborhood are upset with the tent city is because they're afraid it will lower their house values. And maybe it's the public shitting as well. He says he doesn't condone some of the tent city residents taking dumps in the residents' backyards, and he respectfully does his in a neat pile directly on the other side of the fence. Now there's a classy way to take a shit. At first glance, you might say to yourself, this can't be good for the community, and no one wants piles of shit everywhere, but you'd be wrong. We spoke to at least 3 people hanging outside the local YMCA, and they all stated that they didn't have a problem with it. If people don't like tents, shit, and all the other stuff stolen, they should just share all their money and stuff, states a guy we talked to who called himself Crumpy. But Crumpy's not alone. The other 2 men shared his sentiment and went on to say that they will find out where I live and take frequent shits in my yard. I'm sad for what will become of my pristine manicured lawn, but I see how I am part of the problem and I accept my future offerings. While my yard will provide short-term relief for these men's defecation needs, I understand that this is not a long-term solution. Perhaps we should open up all our borders and invite more people into the country so that they will come together and expand the tent cities. Perhaps providing free needles and safe spaces for people with drug problems to shoot up will not only help or make our parks, neighborhoods, and public spaces safer, but make strides towards the equity we all crave. So the next time you find someone in the act of fertilizing your lawn, or you're fortunate enough to step in some human-sized dookie, remember you're the problem. Maybe instead of chasing them or chastising them, you'll go back inside, get some toilet paper, food, and money, and go back out and shake that person's hand and give them what they deserve, and remember that you're the piece of shit. I've had that one for a while. I didn't put that one out. I had to tweak that one a little bit. I forgot about it. I started writing that one, I don't know, whatever, months ago, probably back in November or something like that. And then I found it in the archives and I went, oh shit, I got to finish that one. So it's funny because I bounced these stories off I have a twin sister, so I bounce them off her. And if she's kind of like the model for me, if she laughs, then I know it's funny. If she doesn't, if she does this other laugh, I know, oh, it's smart funny, but not like funny. So this one she kind of laughed a lot at. So I liked it too. So I don't know what you thought about it, but if you didn't like it, well, go fuck yourself. If you did, well, thanks. So either way. But what are you saying there, Joe? Just sounds like you're describing Detroit. Yeah, I'm describing every damn city in Ontario at this point. And Detroit's no difference. You're like the difference between Detroit and say Toronto, it's close. There's not a lot of difference. You know, we're the same people up here. We're in the same climate, you know, the same shit's happening. The same defunct friggin' what do you call it? Government policies. I had a hard time with government. I am bullshit tired today, by the way. I haven't slept in like 3 days. Well, and last night, oh geez, I went and played a poker tournament, and I was at the casino for like 15 hours total. It was awful. So I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. So that's why I'm probably with my words. So I apologize. So if you're watching and you're struggling through some of my flubbing, I apologize. But whatever. Too bad. This is my shitty little podcast. You will deal with it. Portland, Seattle, LA, San Fran, you're just rightfully crapping on America. Yeah. Smoke a beer or two and go to sleep. You just smoke them. No, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play some Civilization 7. I don't know if you play video games. I don't generally, but that one, Civilizations games, I have to play them no matter what because just they're great. But this one's a little bit whatever, but I'm getting into it more now. So I'm going to sit down and play that for a few hours, unwind, chill, and go to bed a little early. A little early for me is probably 12. So I'll go to bed maybe around 12 and get up usually around 7. So that'll be a solid 7, but I probably won't even be able to sleep that. That's the worst part for me. I'm kind of a 6-hour sleeper and that's it. But whatever. All right. Let me transition back to this one. Okay, that's it. Podcast over. That's all I got. Thanks for watching if you did. Thanks, Joe, for being with me. I know Robert was, but he's having a hard time with electrical storm where he is in the continent of Africa. So we always appreciate when Robert's with us. Oh, you're saying, yeah, you never got in the hang of Civ? Yeah, it's a big game. There's a lot to it, but anyways, yeah. So thanks for being with me, Joe, as always, and anyone else that was watching. And if you missed any part of the podcast and you want to catch some of the topics that I talked about, you can catch them between Tuesday and Sunday during the week, 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. I drop them. If you want to help the channel and you like the channel, you should subscribe to it first and foremost if you haven't. And if you want to help it along in the other ways, you'll obviously watch the videos, share the videos, like the videos, comment on the videos, do all the engagement that, if you're not new to YouTube at this point. So if you're not new to YouTube, that's what you do. That's how you help the channel. So that's how you'd help my channel. So, but I appreciate if you are a subscriber and you do watch. I appreciate you. I just wish I'd see you in the comments more. But oh, there he is. What's up, Christopher? Caught the end. Well, cheers, buddy. Yeah. So everyone else, I will be back. You'll see me again next Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Check out the live show. Talk to me. I get lonely. Joe keeps me company. Christopher jump in sometimes. Robert, some other people, Artie. But yeah, we need more people in the chat. Get talking. Talk about the shit that's going on and all that. For anyone that's watching that watches Timcast, go watch Timcast. And yeah, I'll see you next week. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.